Welcome to another episode of Hard Factor, presented by the Barstool News Network. It is Monday, April 27th, 2020, the 7th, number 7 week of lockdown for us, and I'm thinking it's going to be lucky number 7 for a lot of places, with the lockdown starting to ease up some places, a lot of places going back to work. So we're getting back on the clock for you, trying to get our show times back down in order, about 30 to 40 minutes. We've got 12-plus stories jammed into that time for the first Mega Monday ever. Maybe, guys? Mega Monday?
This ain't going to happen.
I wouldn't call a show Mega Monday when you're shortening it by 25 minutes. Maybe just
Mega Monday.
Except adding more stories, Mark.
Okay.
More content, less time. Wes, get us going.
All right, guys. The little dweeb leader of North Korea, Kim Jong Un, is dead, or he's a vegetable, or he's alive and well. It all depends on who you guys ask. So,
or he's a dead vegetable.
Or he's He's definitely a little dweeb, though. So speculation that this little bastard was either dead or on death's door started pouring in after he missed his grandfather's birthday on April 15th, also some anniversary, the 80-something celebration of the Republic. And nobody has seen him.
That's an act of treason over there.
Yep, and nobody has seen him since April 11th when he attended an executive communist committee party called a Politburo. Lots of bad decisions being made at those things. Anyway, this fat little fuck has heart problems. He likes to suck down the cigs, and he loves cheese. The gout on him must be impressive, but it's his heart that needed a surgery, and that's where some officials say things went wrong for him. Yeah.
Kim Jong Un. I see a lot of myself in him with the cigs and the cheese. So
There's nothing wrong with those.
That's scary.
Those two parts. Yeah, it's the torture and the genocide and the not letting your people have any freedoms. I don't agree with that part.
Yeah,
but
that part's
the
bad.
cigs and the cheese. I'm with them.
Me too.
Yeah, his body's like a square, or it's like more like a rectangle. It's like a rectangle with a head, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, he is a dictator in a country. He's gonna have his cheese if he wants it.
Also back to Pat's point, I don't think he can commit treason on himself. He's the supreme leader. So
Yeah, but it was his grandfather's birthday, and his grandfather's supreme leader.
Okay. Interesting. But if you're current supreme leader, can't you pardon yourself?
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they killed him, Pat.
Yeah, he could be dead because of that.
True.
Let's hope so.
Supreme leader himself.
Yeah.
But nobody really knows for sure. The most recent news from South Korea's president, Moon Jae-in, is that Kim is alive and well and is hanging out recovering from surgery at his luxurious resort-style compound in Wonsan on the east coast of North Korea.
He's at a beach with Tupac.
Yeah, that's right.
You think they got a look-alike that just they have a Dave situation?
Oh, they definitely have several Kim Jong-un looks-likes.
Yeah, for sure.
So many.
Yeah. Imagine the training regiment to be in that club. Like, you just got to, eat fucking cheese and smoke.
House and cheese.
Cigs,
yeah.
All day.
I mean, if you get it's one of those things where just if you get the hair right, you're halfway there. So
You got to study up on Dennis Rodman.
Yeah. The only proof that that he's alive is a satellite image of what people believe to be his personal train parked at this resort. The people of North Korea believe this little shit is a god, and fear of his death has sparked panic buying. This portly little cocksucker did do the same thing back in 2014 when he wasn't seen for weeks. He was also recovering from a surgery, so it could be the same thing. We don't know. North Korea.
Yeah. Could be the clock, too.
That's right, yeah. North Korea is ruled by the Kim family dynasty and has been so since the 40s, so the next person needs to come from the same Paek-2 bloodline if they're able to carry on the myth that the Kims are gods. Un's sister, Kim Yo-jong, might be in line, but that would throw the whole system of patriarchal, the nation off. She is apparently a huge piece of shit also. There's also Kim Jong-chol.
No, his sister.
You don't say.
You don't say, yeah.
Yep, she's been, cited for human rights abuse and all that kind of stuff, too. So there's also Kim Jong.
Just slap a dick on her. Gender reassign her.
Yeah.
There you go.
Another brother, Kim Jong-chol, I think the Wonton Don said this is who the rest of the world wants, but he's more interested in Eric Clapton concerts, so he's probably out. So we're just going to keep waiting to see if that little fat fuck is dead, guys.
Oh.
All right. Interesting. I got another, whether you like it or not, guys, sorry. It seems like things are starting to reopen a little bit in America, like as Will kind of mentioned at the top. That's right. By the time you are listening to this, the United States alone will have over 1 million confirmed cases of coronavirus, with less than 125,000 of those people being officially recovered, and over 56,000 deaths, which is a 32% chance of ratio of settled cases. So I don't know. But people have been locked at home for 2 months now, and they've had enough, so I get that. That's why Georgia entered stage 1 of reopening this weekend by opening the hair salons, gyms, tattoo parlors, bowling alleys, movie theaters. Got to have those tattoo parlors
Gotta
open.
get a tattoo and go for a game.
Have to.
Yeah.
And several other states are starting to follow suit. Alaska reopened dine-in and retail with limitations. Arizona and Arkansas are allowing elective surgeries this week. I mean, pretty much almost every state is starting to reopen in some form or fashion by the end of this week. I can't go through all of them because Will has us on a timer because some listeners complain the show is too long. But check your state and any state you might be planning on traveling to in the next month if you're interested.
So you thought lockdown was just going to make us permanently a 2-hour show a day?
No, I mean an hour. I'm fine with doing an hour as long as the jokes are flowing. But I don't want to digress. I only have 2.5 minutes for each story.
What movies are they showing? Because no studios are putting movies out. What movies are they showing in these movie theaters?
I don't know.
You're watching The Matrix 1 is what they're watching.
You're watching things that shouldn't be in the movie theater.
Or things that you can already get on Amazon.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you what, though. I would hate to be a waiter when this all ends. You imagine just the same running jokes that people are going to be saying to you when they sit down the first time at their dinners. Man, it is so good to be back.
Aren't you glad to be back at
Aren't
work?
you glad to be back? Oh,
Stay
God.
6 feet away.
Yeah. It's going to be
There was a
fucking
funny
hell.
thing I saw of a spoof on restaurants training their waiters on how to deal with it, and they were like 6 feet away from an empty table, and the waiter was throwing water glasses, and they were just shattering. Anyways, oh wait, I will go through a few states. So this weekend, California reopens, and several counties reopened their beaches, and they made Floridians look pretty damn good, if you ask me, because the images and videos coming from California
About the same.
beaches make it looks like every single person that lives in
It's the
California moved to the beach permanently this weekend.
It's just a regular beach weekend in California.
A little bit ridiculous. We should keep our eyes out to see if there's a spike in cases in California this next week. Because if not, then reopen everything. Because everyone in the world that lives in California was at the beaches and they were not distancing at all. It didn't look like.
I agree.
And I'm assuming that some of those people were the people that tweeted out hashtag Florida morons last week. But once their beaches reopened,
Well, it's the same exact thing as the spring break. Like so that was the beginning marker was when everybody publicly shamed the spring breakers. The end marker is when all the liberals in California go to the beach regardless of the rules.
yeah, if the liberals
That's it.
If
That's
the liberals
the
in
beginning and the
California,
end of the lockdown.
If the
That's
liberals
it.
in California are going to the beaches, I guess there's really no leg to stand on anymore. It's over. Not every state is reopening though in the next few weeks. As there's good news out of New York that they saw their first day this Sunday with less than 400 deaths from the coronavirus since they started peaking several weeks ago. But they won't even start to reopen until 14 days of declines in a row, according to federal guidelines that Governor Cuomo says he's following. And he said that construction and some manufacturing would be part of the first wave of reopening. In a separate and much worse news conference, Mayor Bill de Blasio said New York's economic reopening might not be completed until 2022. 2022, guys, which was
That genius de Blasio.
which was met with millions of dick pics sent electronically the second he stopped talking.
Bill de Blasio's really shown off how smart he is during this whole thing. Also, we're never going to hit the time thing.
No, never.
No, not.
We're on
not
pace
at all.
for 60 minutes.
There is some good news in China. Well, these are main stories, but other ones are short. In China, the city of Wuhan reported that its last hospital patient has been discharged this weekend, and no new cases in the last 20 days. So that's pretty good.
Good for China.
In Wuhan, China.
Good for China, you know. All right, fellas, let's move it over to Bleachgate, where we have peaked at coronavirus broken brain syndrome with the argument that swept the nation for this entire past weekend, and that is Bleachgate. On Friday's press conference, President Trump said, and then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, you can, which you can do, either through the skin or in some other way. And then I see the disinfectant knocks it out in a minute. 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost cleaning? Because you see, it gets in the lungs, unquote. And I thought that was just babble or him making talking about making real life Ant-Men to send them inside your lungs,
He's just-
scrub them down with disinfectant
He's just thinking out
before
loud.
you go back to work.
Yeah, some of the best ideas come when you're just thinking
just
out
thinking
loud.
out
Thinks
loud.
about
That's
medicine like a 4-year-old thinks about medicine.
Right.
Like, can't we just clean it? Let's just put the bleach through and it's done.
Right.
Yeah, right. Well,
Why don't we turn ourselves into
How do
bleach?
we make it so it doesn't kill him?
Yeah.
exactly.
What if I put myself in the dishwasher?
Yeah.
Exactly. That was sort of the train of thought I thought he was going with. Dr. Birx, who he was talking to during that quote, said that she called it amusing, quote unquote. But Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the the mass of left-leaning media outlets claimed that Trump was serious about encouraging Americans to, quote unquote, embalm themselves, and that his mocking science is dangerous in all occasions. Of course, the right-leaning outlets said that Trump was joking and agreed with him that he was joking.
He was not joking. There's no way he was joking. That was just him thinking.
Yeah.
Whether he was right or wrong.
He was just thinking. He wasn't going to act on that. He was just
That was
thinking.
not a fucking joke.
He was just thinking out loud.
Like, Seemed like somewhere in the middle to me, but taking it to the internet, here's a direct quote from Jake Tapper's article about Bleachgate. Quote, "There's going to be a history of this era, and those who are pretending this irresponsibility is not happening, they will be remembered as villains." Unquote. So there you have it. If you thought jokes about UV light and drinking bleach were funny, you'll be remembered as a villain forever. There is no in between. Pick a side. CNN said so. So just do it.
Yeah, they're giving this whole Bleach thing way more legs than it ever would have gotten by freaking out about it.
So
and
ridiculous.
it's making people drink it way more by their fucking overreaction to it.
No. I mean, it saved at least 4 lives. I could tell you that much. I could guarantee you that the backlash to Trump standing up and suggesting that you put bleach in yourself, which he kind of did and was not joking about.
Well, good. I'm glad that they
save
spent.
4 lives.
He didn't
I'm glad
suggest it.
that they released millions of hours of content about it to save 4 lives.
Yeah.
They got nothing else. All right, guys. Democratic candidate and connoisseur of women's hair products, Joe Biden, issued a statement on April 23rd at a fundraiser warning that President Trump would attempt to delay the presidential election in November, saying, quote, "Mark my words." I can't even do it, Biden. "Mark my words, I think he's going to try to kick back the election somehow and come up with some sort of rationale why it can't be held. However, guys, the Constitution leaves the decision up to the Democratic majority of Congress for when the presidential election is set. So, it's not going to happen, in my opinion. But regardless, Trump has already started sowing discord in the validity of mail-in ballots, saying back on April 7th, quote, "Mail-in ballots, a very dangerous thing for this country because they're cheaters." So regardless of which side you're on, I think it's prudent to keep your children and the easily influenced away from mail-in ballots as a precaution until this whole thing's worked out.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, there's no way you can really delay it, right?
No, he can't. I mean, Congress decides when.
If the fucking election gets delayed, it's because round 2 is a disaster, and
Right, that would be the only way.
And
not
then,
gonna get delayed.
and then who fucking cares? Because we're
Right,
all
'cause
gonna
then
die.
lots of
Like,
people
who
are dying.
cares?
Yeah,
Fucking give me a break. If it gets delayed, then we're all fucked.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Biden's fucked the longer it gets delayed, that's for sure. Guys, the coronavirus biggest fans have to be criminals. This virus is like a new lease on life for many hardened criminals who are being released from prison early to stop the spread of the virus. And now 3 mafia bosses in Italy are heading to house arrest as part of that country's attempt to quell the virus in prison. So Francesco Bonura, a big boss in the Sicilian Cosa Nostra, with a 23-year sentence. Vincenzo Lanazzo, a member of the N'Raghenreda Mafia, 14 years. And Pasquale Zagaria, a member of the Casalesi clan, 20-year sentence, are now getting blowjobs on their couches instead of rotting in jail, and are probably toasting the coronavirus with some $1,000 red wine because they're out.
Coronavirus is the best thing to happen to organized crime in a while.
Yep, absolutely.
These boys got let out, huh?
They got let out.
It plays right into the business model. The big dons are getting let out of jail. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
All this fresh stimulus money just
right.
sitting out there on the street.
Yeah, we covered it last week. The mafia is using the economic downfall caused by the coronavirus.
We should look into see if the coronavirus was started by the mafia.
That's a good question. I was thinking the same thing when I was writing this shit. Yeah, they're going to take over businesses left and right. They're going to be, when the boss is out, something tells me they'll be eager to get back to work. Critics of the policy.
Got a virus you can't refuse.
Yeah, maybe like we said, maybe they get a cough. Maybe he develops a cough.
Maybe
Hey, who do we know in our crew that knows stuff about science and disease?
yeah. There's like one guy.
Gotta give
I think we do something with him.
Give him a cough, okay? Critics of the policy say this is
Hey, your cousin went to college, right? Call him up.
Critics of this policy say this is complete disrespect to the victims, police, and community that the Mafia preys on. Italy is down 6,500 inmates since the end of February. All 3 men had less than 18 months remaining on their sentences, which was the requirement for this special treatment to happen. These 3 are said to be under extra cautious measures so they don't start wheeling and dealing, but something tells me they're going to be wheeling and dealing as much as they fucking want.
Oh, yeah.
These guys are in a remedial internet class right now.
Good for them.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I have a crazy one for you. It's about the last cruise ship that returned to sea, and it was out for a while. In January 2020, the Costa dell'Azosia, fuck that up, also an Italian thing, set sail from Venice, Italy for an around-the-world voyage with 2,000 passengers on board. So it was supposed to be pretty long, but I don't think it was supposed to be this long, and it was all fucked up. Because the first few weeks were successful. They went to a couple destinations and got on land in Barcelona and Barbados, but then they started getting news the world was going to hell with coronavirus. And guys, the average age was 75 years old for the passengers because it's one of those, like, very expensive bucket list trips that you do before you die. So they had to avoid the coronavirus, and they basically, the thing turned into like Avenue 5 at Sea, that HBO comedy show. Check that out. It's pretty hilarious. Yeah. And they were just avoiding the coronavirus and like rerouting like the entire trip around the world. Like they were supposed to go to Asia. They were like, nope, not going to Asia. And eventually they ended up in Australia in like early to mid-March. Got on land for 1 day, and that was the last day they got on land until they docked April 22nd back in Italy. So it was basically just...
Well, so that's awesome, though.
Yes.
None of them caught corona, right?
None of them caught corona because they were never on fucking land. So
they got to party the whole time.
One person died of natural causes. They were so old, probably. Sorry, that's not funny, is it?
Wait.
Did you burst out laughing at natural causes death?
I mean, they're old people, right? It was bad news, though, Will, for the crew, not the passengers, because the head of the hotel staff, the head of the event planner, made all the dancers and entertainers work 7 days a week for like 3 months straight. Yeah, so they had like Cirque du Soleil and masseuses whose hands were falling off because they worked like 14-hour shifts.
That's terrible.
Yeah, they were the last ship at sea.
You're telling me that they're not going to reduce service for a 4-month cruise?
No, an Italian event planner refused to do that. Also, by the way, last fact is there are about 65,000 crew members, hopefully not as many now, but there were like 65,000 crew members late last week still stuck on board 87 cruise ships in the U.S. ports and Bahamas that like most of them are U.S. citizens because they've just been on these fucking boats. They can't go home. So that sucks.
Hadn't gone on a cruise yet, probably... Gonna unfortunately for the cruise industry, this guy's probably not going on him after this. All right, let's take it over to the Louisiana corner, where I'm wearing an LSU jersey today, number 7, in honor of the 7th week of lockdown and the Redskins getting 2 LSU players and LSU having 14 players selected in the draft. Go to youtube.com/HardFactorNews to see Jersey Week. I'm in Jersey Week number 2 of quarantine. And go Tigers.
Pretty impressive. I think that tied the record for most players from one school getting drafted.
Broke the record for the SEC, tied the record for all schools in any draft. And of course, we've got some news from the boot as well. First up, mega church pastor Tony Spell of the Life Tabernacle Church near Baton Rouge again conducted a full Sunday service despite being on house arrest. Tony showed up showing off his ankle monitor to cheers on Facebook Live while standing in front of his congregation on Sunday claiming, quote, "I'm not hiding anymore. It's a dirty, rotten, crying shame when you have to hide in America," unquote. And I'm sure that breaking house arrest and all of the social gathering laws in Louisiana is also a serious crime. Tony.
We got to get him on the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. we need to get him on the show.
We need to talk to Tony Spell because that man he's scared of nothing. Well, he's certainly not scared of the government or ankle bracelets. Next up, we've got Duck Dynasty boys back in the news, but for an odd reason, not what you'd expect. Turns out the star of the show, Willie Robertson, had his house in West Monroe, Louisiana, sprayed by 8 to 10 bullets at 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon on Friday.
Broad daylight drive-by
by an F-250 pickup truck from the road.
That narrows it down.
Yeah, who they got a video of. It's a white male who was driving. The shots were fired from the truck at the house. Nobody was injured, but obviously the Robertsons are pissed and well armed. It's not the family that I would be shooting warning shots at. Right
Yeah,
now. No.
Interesting. They don't have the guy. They don't have the guy arrested.
That's what he said. Willie Robertson said he's in touch with local law enforcement and he assumes it's local.
He thinks he knows who it is.
He stepped on someone's cowboy boots.
Yeah.
No,
All right, guys,
if he knew who it was, he wouldn't have been in touch with local law enforcement.
Yeah. He'd get up. He'd posse up.
Well, you think he would have killed?
Yeah,
go
it
out
does
there and
sound
kill
weird.
himself?
No
Yeah,
arrests.
I think
No
so.
arrests. Yeah, and
It's a rival
local.
duck call maker, I think.
That's a
Early
good
last
call.
week, guys, many Republican members of Congress were under fire for not wearing masks when they took the floor with all of the Dems wearing protective face gear. And in an old person's attempt to troll, 66-year-old Republican Senator Dale Zorn from Michigan rocked a Confederate flag face mask to vote on Friday. And after being called out for wearing the mask, Zorn at first denied that it was in fact a Confederate flag while simultaneously throwing his wife under the bus, saying, quote, "It wasn't a Confederate flag. It was a mask that my wife made for me, and she wanted me to wear it today. So I did, and I told my wife it will probably raise some eyebrows, but it was not a Confederate flag." So, okay.
It was the state of Hawaii.
Yeah, it wasn't a flag, but he admitted it would raise some eyebrows. Okay.
But he's in Michigan, so he probably said
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like
Midwesterner
it wouldn't make
accent.
any sense. That was
Yeah,
the joke.
he should have said it was like a mask his wife sewed from him from a Dukes of Hazzard quilt, and just the
Right.
luck of the draw, he got the hood of the
There you
General
go.
Lee on his face. He then went on to dig a deeper grave for himself, saying he was doing the country a service, again, saying it wasn't a flag, but then he was doing the country a service by teaching kids and saying, quote, "And I think even if it was a Confederate flag, we should be talking about teaching our national history in schools. And that's part of our national history, and it's something we just can't throw away because it's part of our history. And if we want to make sure these atrocities that happened during this time don't happen again, we should be teaching it. Our kids need to know what that flag stands for."
Yeah, so it definitely was a Confederate flag.
Sounds like
Yeah, so he's just he's like
Sounds like
it certainly was a Confederate.
Yeah.
Yes. And guys, if you want to see how that senator should have handled it, in my opinion, look at the new Patriots kicker Justin Rohrwasser, who has a 3%er tattoo, which now represents a far right paramilitary group on his arm. Anyway, he told media, "I got that tattoo when I was a teenager. I had a lot of family in the military, and I thought it stood for military support at the time. Obviously, it ended up evolving into something that I didn't want it to represent, and it's not something I want to represent, so it'll be covered." So good on you, brother. But obviously, you probably should just keep rocking it after you said that. But, you know.
People real
Anyway.
upset
Oh,
about that
I don't think
tattoo.
he's going to get it removed, is he?
No,
He's gonna cover
the
it.
3% can turn into like 3 points for a field goal pretty easy.
Exactly. He should just turn it on its
The
head.
3% thing. I read the backstory of it today. It's not that big of a deal.
Point is, he didn't mean for it to mean what people think it means. So leave the guy alone.
It's also not that big of a deal in general.
Right.
Yeah.
But
That's how a lot of people feel about the Confederate flag. It's all in.
This is
your
less
intention.
than that. Way less than that.
It's all in your.
no,
intention.
no, Mark. The 3%er thing is way less than the Confederate flag. It's totally different.
Yeah.
Regardless, the senator should.
I read the background of
I read
it.
that Canada said they're like the worst group in the
Yeah,
history of
and the
world.
Canadians know
Yeah.
about that.
All right.
All right, guys. An auction for a sought-after whiskey collection, including one of the most expensive bottles of Scotch ever, bottle of Macallan 1926 fine and rare 60-year-old, valued at over $1.4 million, has been called off because some whiskey-loving criminals hacked into the website and auction system and tried to fix the auction to go their way. This was part of a 2-day auction for the collection of a man named Richard Gooding, who was born into the Pepsi bottling family. So, just fucking multi-millionaire, and whose passion was collecting fine and rare whiskeys, single malt, mostly single malt scotches. His collection was over 3,900 bottles, was dubbed the perfect collection, and valued at over $15 million when he died. The first part of his collection, over 1,900 bottles, sold for almost $4 million. And the second half was supposed to go on auction until the whiskey-loving criminals tried to steal the auction by overloading the website. So I think like not allowing people to bid, I guess, is what they were trying to do.
Probably a packet attack.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. What is that? What is a packet attack?
It's where you overload a website by sending too much traffic there.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like they did. So now nobody gets the whiskeys, and his wife has to continue to stare at the stupid bottles a little longer. So
That's expensive
That
ass whiskey.
sucks.
yeah,
Hey Wes, did you buy a lottery ticket this weekend?
I sure did. I did.
What happened?
What happened?
Yeah, that's like almost as bad as the whiskey.
What happened?
Well, I was going to give me $4 back occasionally I will buy. I mean, Mark and I are in the Mega Millions regularly because. But occasionally I'll get a scratcher, like a $2 scratcher. So I was like, just give me any $2. And he gave it back to me, and I scratched it, and I had convinced myself it was a tricky scratch ticket. I convinced myself that I won over $1,000.
Send us a picture.
I sent a picture to you guys. Drove back up to the store. Walked into the store. The scanner wasn't working, so I had to have the
You
clerk.
were so excited.
I was so excited. I was like, I think I want. There's a guy in there buying lottery tickets. I said really loud, I think I won $1,000, trying to like be cool to this other guy, and the guy behind
Which
the
is
counter.
not what you want to say in a convenience store.
Well,
but-
no, I felt pretty safe.
Express said, "Did I just win $1,000 or am I wrong?"
Yeah,
In cash?
It was wrong.
I was wrong. So I was like,
He also thought he won $1,059 because scratch offs always come in odd numbers like that.
well, my misunderstanding was $1,059.
On the back of the ticket, it tells you the exact denominations you can win. There's no chance it had a 1,059
well,
there. But
you know what? I was very
And if you guys want to make
excited.
some cash, you can do so with our partner, Predicted.org. If you want to visit Predicted.org, it's predicted.org/promo/hardfactor20. We'll match your first $20 deposit with a $20. We'll match your first 20 with a 20. You can bet on news and politics there. It's fantastic. You guys got any markets this week?
VP and president still great odds. Everybody at VP is trading at positive odds. Everybody in president right now, I think Trump is still close to a coin.
if you have any
flip.
ideas, send them in too. We'll get them sent over to the crew at Predicted to see if we can create some markets for you.
Yeah, my Liz Warren bet is still crushing on VP. Anyway, guys, that's predicted.org/promo/hardfactor20. It's a unique URL. It'll look just like the website if you logged in without the unique URL. But do not fret. Just go to sign up, deposit your first $20. We'll give you a free 20.
Totally legal in all 50 states. Back on California, big news out of Vallejo, California. Planning Commissioner Chris Platzer has resigned after he got a little too comfortable during a Zoom meeting between city officials. And the problem is it was also a public Zoom meeting, so the citizens of the town were watching and asking them live questions. Maybe Chris did not know that it was public. Oh, no, wait, he did, because we'll get to it. But maybe he just wanted to get fired and spend more time at the beaches in California. I'm not sure. But he was drinking beer on the meeting and then introduced his pet cat that could be heard meowing off the screen. So he picked it up and said, and now I'd like to introduce him to my pet cat. And then he promptly threw it across the room pretty violently, and it screamed the whole way it was flying off screen.
No, man.
And then after the conference ended, he kept his recording going and let the expletives fly. When he started cursing at his colleagues, he could be heard saying, "I'm going to call bullshit on you little bitches" on the video's live stream. And so Saturday.
This is a man. Now this is a man who really is going to take advantage of these unemployment benefits through the end of the year.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, he was on full tilt. It sounds like he was drinking.
Yeah, he was
the
ready.
tossing of the cat is one thing. The beer is a conscious decision that he was making at a public meeting.
Yeah, and then calling his coworkers bitches. On Saturday, Platzer said he resigned from the Planning Commission effective immediately.
Due to COVID-19, of course, so I can get the
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. We'll see. I don't know why he's resigning, because if he just waited a
he
few
should've
days,
just got fired.
Right. If he waited a few days, they had already convened a group of seven-person panel this Tuesday to vote him out. Essentially, after that meeting,
he should have waited.
yeah. Well, his resignation
paid
has not
benefits.
been received on Sunday night. By the time of this recording, will
He realized
he just
it.
announced
He realized it.
Yeah, he might have taken it back.
Yeah, he
he just
realized
claimed
he
he
needs to get
resigned.
fired.
Yeah, he should wait till Tuesday. Vallejo Mayor Bob Sampion said on Friday it wasn't one thing like the screeching cat in the air, the beer, or the cursing at colleagues, but more of Platz's entire demeanor during the 3-hour meeting that upset him.
The complete lack of respect for the situation.
You can watch you can type in Vallejo commissioner Zoom meeting, and there's like a 25-second clip of him that someone clipped down, and it's him just talking shit to his cat and throwing it off screen really violently. You can watch
Clipping his toenails.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I gotta watch
it seems like he wanted to get
Yeah.
get
He didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. All right. Last story for me. Ooh, guys, we got to go back to Space Corner. This is the Made in China edition, though, so it's going to get even crazier than normal. So remember the asteroid called 2L Borisov that's from another solar system and may kill us all because it's covered in stuff that can kill you in the garage?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, turns out it's not alone. Scientists now say, whoops, actually, there's like 20 of these asteroids from other solar systems, and they've just been chilling in our solar system the whole time, actually. So it's only a matter of time until Elon Musk tries to mine one of these fucking things and starts the apocalypse. So
Fuck.
that's first.
good.
Space
20 of them?
update.
We were talking shit about just one of them last
Just
week.
one. There are 20.
Yeah, they need to start holding their announcements over there at NASA.
Yeah, they
wait
do.
a week.
Because I
wait
don't believe.
a fucking week.
I agree, Pat. I don't know. I don't believe this 20 now. There could be 2 billion. You know what I mean?
Look, we don't know anything.
Yeah.
Speaking of scientists at NASA, right? Scientists is in quotes. NASA claims to have made semi-disposable ventilator for COVID-19 patients that they hope can help because they can throw it away after 3 months. It's not like a permanent ventilator. Like, it's easier to build. That's nice, but maybe start investigating the aliens at the bottom of the ocean, NASA, because you don't know anything about them.
Priorities.
So, yeah, exactly. I think that's a little more important. Now, onto the China portion of the Space Corner. Not only is the Chinese government openly pressuring Germany to praise their handling of the coronavirus and side against America with them on the backlash here on Earth, they're trying to step to our boy Elon Musk on his mission to Mars with one of their own. China announced the Tianwen-1 mission to put a lander on Mars, and if they do it successfully, they join the USA and Russia as the only 3 countries to land something on the Martian surface. So, speaking of China, watch Donnie's Zillion Piju series where Mark and other Americans build good relations with Peng Zai, the beer-drinking champ of China, and go to the Hard Factor News YouTube page now if you want to see the condensed boat race video. Chopped it down to 30 minutes in the original 90 of utter chaos. That will be up on youtube.com/hardfactornews now.
Nice.
Both are excellent drinking videos.
All right, guys. Taylor Swift is crying again. Uh-oh. She's crying to fans because her former record label is releasing a, quote, unapproved live album of her singing songs from a 2008 radio show. Let me take this time again to point out that there are 5 shareholders in her former label of Big Machine Records, one of whom is Taylor Swift's dad, who pumped money into the label to get her daughter a deal. Another one of those shareholders is her manager, Frank Bell. She cried like she didn't know what the fuck was happening when her label sold to Scooter Braun, and even though her fucking dad and manager make up 40% of the shareholders, you dumb idiot. Fuck you, Taylor. This is the shit that happens to every single other goddamn artist in the business, and it's the trade you make for financial and logistical support that you need to reach the heights of fame that Taylor has, and you happen to be the 1% of the 1% of fucking recording artists in terms of success, and I'm just so sorry that you don't like it that your label is making money on the image that they helped build. It's like, maybe before you complain, look at the greatest hits albums that have been released for every single marquee artist in the history of fucking recorded music, and see if you find tweets and calls to action for those artists asking their fans to revolt. You spoiled fucking brat. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I like Taylor. I mean, I don't like Taylor Swift. I like your point about not liking Taylor Swift, but just because it's been like that in the past, if she's advocating for the singers to get a bigger piece of the pie, why is that a problem?
It's not the singer's getting a bigger piece of the pie. The deal is you signed a fucking contract. She signed a contract. They are putting out these albums totally within the rights of the contract, within the constraints of the contract that she fucking signed. It's not a big deal. That's my point. It's like, you guess what? If you get that famous, as Taylor did, it takes a fuck ton of support, both from a work perspective and a financial perspective, and that's what the label did. And now she's pissed because the label is cashing in their chips. It's like, sorry, you bought Amazon in 2001? Awesome. It's like her bitching about you selling fucking Amazon now and making your fucking money on it.
That kind of thing's beneath her now that she's a superstar and doesn't want it out there, basically.
She needs to focus on making new art and not chastising people for legally doing what they're allowed to do based on the contracts that she fucking entered into. And
big business, Pat.
I'm pissed at her. It's because it's bullshit, and she's the richest of the rich. Why don't you let some fucking artists that aren't as fucking successful as you bitch? In other news, Taylor's rival Yeezus is now publicly listed as a billionaire after him lobbying the magazine of Forbes for months to look into his net worth, and they did it. And they said, yes, Yeezus, you are in fact a billionaire at 1.3 billion.
Nice.
Yeah, which Kanye thinks is major bullshit, and an undervalue, saying it's more like 3.3.
Oh shit!
Well, you got to represent for yourself.
I mean, Pat. So do you think other artists should complain about it? Then I'm confused.
No, I guess what I'm saying is, like, do you know how you like some of the best-selling records for artists, like marquee artists, are their greatest hits albums, right? That's very similar to what Big Machine is doing for Taylor, which is they're taking master recordings they have the right to, repackage them and re-releasing them, right? And like you don't see fucking Michael Jackson, well not Michael Jackson, the Beatles bitching and saying, or the Eagles bitching and saying, hey, by the way, the Eagles' greatest hits is like one of the biggest best-selling albums of all time. They didn't craft that album. So fans are receiving the album, they're listening to the album in a way that the Eagles didn't intend for that art to be consumed. You don't see them fucking bitching because they realize it's part of the goddamn game. It's like, just shut the fuck up.
Is she mad because she thinks she sounds bad, or she's mad because...
No, she's mad because people are releasing things that isn't within her plans. Like when you're an artist, you have a fucking plan, and a live album from 2008 isn't part of the plan.
If I get too many re-releases of Taylor Swift, I'm gonna sour on Taylor Swift music. I can see her point.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That would be
Taylor?
a real problem if we showered on
She needs another Netflix special.
I'm team anti the record label.
She finds herself.
Her dad owns the fucking record label.
So, I'm not. In general, I'm arguing for not Taylor Swift, not her dad. I'm talking about the whole process where the record label gets to release whatever the fuck they want without talking with the artist about it. I don't think
everyone
that's
made
okay.
Millions. Everyone's putting their pants on, gold-plated pants.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to congratulate all of us on our time management.
Wow. Yeah.
So
we're gonna close.
That's gonna do it for Hard Factor, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Shorter shows coming, I guess. Maybe we'll see. Again, if you don't follow us, check us out at Hard Factor News on Instagram, at Hard Factor News on the Twitter. Please, if you were just hearing this show and you are not subscribed to this podcast, hit subscribe. If you are subscribed, maybe unsubscribe and then resubscribe, because there's some other bullshit shows in the government department, the government charts on iTunes that are eking us out, and we need to shut them the fuck down and show them that we're the #1 news and government podcast on the Apples and iTunes.
And WAPO are trying to silence us. We got to make sure we get back above them on that top 10.
Ted Cruz.
So now it's on your backs, the Hardo Hive. Again, guys, thanks for listening, and check out the boat race video today, and have a great fucking day.